must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must the white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he really sees the sky? How many years must one person have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
How many more Pentecost till the church gets it right? How many more Pentecost till the church aligns itself with God? How many more liturgical seasons till God's people let the Spirit inside to sit next to them in the pews? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many more Pentecosts till the people of God start loving like God so loved the world? How many more Pentecosts till you and I change? Change the way we live and change the way we give and share. How many more Pentecosts till our community of faith becomes the vision of God's dream for our physical address? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many more Pentecosts till we love God half as much as God loves us? How many more Pentecosts till we love our neighbors like Jesus illustrated for us and invites us to love them? How many more Pentecosts till we love ourselves like God loves us? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. People of faith, Pentecost invites us to change. Invites us to change who we are. And Pentecost encourages us to dream dreams and envision visions. Today, I'd like to spend a few minutes unpacking both of those suitcases. I was moved yesterday. by the Right Reverend Michael Curry's sermon. I hope and pray that you were too. I hope and pray that it was a Pentecost movement for the whole world who watched and who has had a chance to see it on social media ever since. But understand this. Before the Right Reverend Curry could take center stage left and implore upon the world to change how we love God and how we love each other, some changes had already occurred slightly in Buckingham Palace. The buttress is still standing, but the small changes that have occurred allowed God's small, still speaking voice to bounce off the walls of that chapel, which we call a cathedral, and then to bounce off satellites and find location in our hearts. The Reverend David Grosh-Miller, immediate past moderator of the United Reformed Church General Assembly, says this about the change that we are talking about, and he says it within the backdrop of Pentecost. He writes, "If the royal family can change, then perhaps there is hope for the church. It is time for the community of faith to dream a new dream," he says, "and to take the risk of inclusion. The wonder of Pentecost," he says, "is the invitation for us all to dream, whatever our age, whatever size of congregation, whatever limit might be placed upon us." He says Pentecost is all about inclusion. And when that is lived, then change happens. Forget the risk register, he says. Let the wind blow and the flames burn. And while you're at it, invite the world to join in the dance. Invite the world to join in the dance. And how many more Pentecost till we transform ourselves, people of faith, by renewing of our minds and our hearts? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. We're here every year. This story. Some of us remember to wear red. 50 days after Easter, we in the Christian church celebrate the day of Pentecost. We should but really don't get ready for an unpredictable and uncontrolled adventure like we should. We should, but we don't strap on our seatbelts for Pentecost. We don't put on our helmets for this day. We don't check our insurance cards, and we really don't get ready for a mighty wind or the persisting calling voice of God. We're not prepared. Today, the day of Christian Pentecost, we celebrate the lively Spirit of God blowing in the wind freely and wherever God wills, not wherever we harness it, and not wherever we direct it. God's gentle and occasionally wild presence that can transform our lives and can change our communities actually desires to break down barriers and give us new life. Give us life in the middle of our weary and uncertain hearts and in the communities in which we live and the fear that consumes us. On that day of Pentecost, a wild spirit unexpectedly encompassed the early Christian movement. Wasn't it brave of Sam to read that this morning? Didn't he do a good job? He really did. I gave him an hour notice. Thank you, Samuel. On that day of Pentecost, as Sam read, a wild spirit unexpectedly encompassed the early Christian movement, shaking everything up and breaking down the barriers that separate humankind. James Taylor sings, "I have seen fire and I have seen rain. I have seen sunny days that I thought would never end." But he never saw this. He never saw the day of Pentecost. The day of Pentecost for the church saw fire and wind, turning everything upside down, uniting the separated, and inviting everyone to be a part of God's community. In this event and in this act of Pentecost, diversity becomes a blessing, not a source of alienation. There is no in or out, or superior or inferior, but a democracy of the Spirit embraces the least and the most as equal recipients of God's divine love and inspiration. In this event, and in this act of Pentecost, we find that it defies our rational categories. It is truly a mystical experience that invites us to consider moments of spiritual transcendence that could and often occur in our personal lives and even in the lives of our congregation. In this event and act of Pentecost, it is a holy day that challenges us to be both spiritual and religious, to ride the winds of the Spirit and then bring that vitality back to the institutional patterns and traditions of our local congregations. In this event, the act of Pentecost, it disorders and brings novelty. A novelty is precisely what we need right now to energize the valuable, to include the beloved. Yet sometimes we are found static structures sitting in our churches, hoping that the wind doesn't enter. Dorothy Soul once asserted that we are really all mystics. We are all capable of having transcendent experiences, even within the everyday routine of our lives. A not-so-distant Pew study reported that nearly half of North Americans claim to have had some form of mystical or transcendent experience. Now that compares to 22% of Americans in 1962. That's quite a bit up. That's double. These experiences range from paranormal visions and intuitions, near-death experiences, feelings of awe, and dramatic visions and healing. Today, people, seekers outside the church, as well as congregants in the pews, are more open to the holy and to unexplained and to the mystery and into sharing the experiences of the divine. We just got to let go and let God. Today, classes on mysticism and spiritual practices and paranormal experiences are popular and reach out beyond the congregation. Pentecost provides an opportunity to blend the mysticism with rationality and transcend it with everyday life. Pentecost teaches me that there are godly moments and that they're holy and that they're unexplainable, yet we can live in them and live with them. We never know when the winds of the Spirit will blow, but they always blow in the direction of healing and unity when they are God's breath. Today's church is called to be a laboratory for the spiritual, to come in and experience God, open to divine whispers, welcoming of the mystic, while trying these experiences to social transformation and to care for the vulnerable. Why fight the blowing of the wind, folks? Why push back on things that are unexplainable? Why not check our logic at the door and sometimes go with the Spirit? Have you ever experienced something godly, unexplainable, a holy moment in your life? Don't run away from it. Embrace it. Grow with it. Let it change you. Pentecost is about change. And Pentecost is about dreaming too. Matthew L. Skinner says, Pentecost is an invitation for us to dream. For when a community of faith quits dreaming dreams, it has little to offer either to its members or the wider world. These dreams involve adopting a new perspective on what's possible, what's rousing our creativity to free us from conventional expectations. They help us see that maybe what we thought was outlandish actually lies within our reach. So if Pentecost is a time to dream, why don't we take a moment and dream? And dream big. See visions. You and I have a handout in our bulletin. It's called My Dreams and Visions for the Church. It's just a simple white piece of paper. It's got 7 lines on it, waiting to be filled out. I'm going to ask you in just a moment to take 2 minutes and 50 seconds to dream, to envision what you see for the church, what you would like to see for the church, what you would hope to see for the church. Yesterday, the Reverend Michael Curry expressed a dream and a vision for the world. He said, imagine our governments and countries where love is the way. He told the crowd as he approached the sermon's climax, no child would go to bed hungry in such a world as that. Poverty would become history in such a world as that. And the earth would be as a sanctuary in such a world as that. That is a bold and necessary vision and dreams for the world. What would your bold and necessary vision and dream be for you and for your church? Take a few moments. Pray about it. Write them down. You can place them in your pocket if you want and place them or you can come and place them on this table when you're through writing as a formal prayer. But now is our time to say we are the young and we are the old, and we get to dream dreams and we get to envision visions about God and holy moments, not only in our community here at this physical address, but the church universal worldwide. I want our church to grow more faithful in mission for the world. How would you envision that? What is your dream for your church? And what is your dream to dream? Do you want to grow spiritually? Would you like to have some more of those holy, unexplainable, mystical moments? Would you like to learn how to pray deeper? Would you like to understand the Bible easier and harder? Would you like to learn how to give more of your time and talent and treasure? What is your dream? I ask that you spend this time. And how many more Pentecosts till we dream dreams and see visions of the new church and new lives in lives of faith and faithfulness? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Write your dreams. Share them if you will.